All right, everybody, so here we go, the new board set. I got one processor there, two there, so there's two in line. We'll see, we'll boot it up real quick right here, plug it in. Okay, we're plugged in. See some things flashing, you see some lights. I now have a light from the MOSFET board if it's getting power. Input board gets a light if it's got power. So you see some things going on. You see some lights flashing and here for some information. So I've been programming. I now have a lot of the programming done. We're gonna get this flipper to run so I can show you real quick. We're just gonna boot up the code here. We're gonna connect right to the board. So we're USB plugged in right there through this cord, right to the computer. Come up here. So one thing I'm gonna do is change the coil settings. This power supply down here, it's actually 24 volts. So it's not a 48 volt one that would control a pinball machine. I just had it here to test. So I'm gonna go to the left flipper coil. I'm gonna change this to like 40 milliseconds so it has more time on so you can see it. It needs some power to pull that spring down. Go ahead up here, say update hardware. It says it's connected. Thing goes away that says it's not connected. So we are connected to this hardware. And I can go ahead now that I am powered up. Let me plug in the other power supply here. Okay, so now we got both power supplies on. And if I just go ahead and start hitting the space, you can hear it. So you see it flips there. And down here we have a flipper running. It's getting stuck on the spring here sometimes. Let's see if I can get it off of there. I don't have that flipper fully in there, so it's getting kind of stuck. But there you go, you can see it running. So we're getting pretty close here. All right, so real quick, I got a bunch, I got 500 of these LED bulbs in. These are the big ones. You can see how big they are. These are the ones that go under your flipper inlane guides. They go under slingshots, any other global illumination spots, typically called GI bulbs. These are my playfield light boards. So you just get a stack of them as I ship them. You can break them off with your hands pretty easily. They have 3 different holes because depending on how tight you're gonna fit them, you might wanna mount them in different spaces, and you can just take any kind of cutting tool. I'm trying to think, I just use a standard off-the-shelf tool. You can just chop right through it if you need it to be smaller. So yeah, again, I wanna offer some that are already in line. So you would get like a circuit board like this, and you would have 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights. So they'd be about 1/2 inch or 1 inch apart. Because a lot of times you have 3 in a row, and it just makes sense for me to do production games that you only have to wire in 1 board and wire it out, and you get 3 done for the price of 1. So it reduces labor by 3x or 2x. What you do is go on the back here, you're gonna solder these in. So there'll be some documentation on those. That's about it for lights. I got to get these soldered into the boards I have. I have little boards for these that control it and plug it in and solder. So that's a manual process that has to be done. I'll tell you guys as well, I have a 3rd homebrew that's in progress, actual physical game. This is a customer of mine. I met him in Free Play, Florida. He's followed my stuff. He bought my software. He's actually been in it longer than everyone that I know of. He's been doing a lot of programming, relearning, rebuilding, and assembling. So he's made like 10 iterations of the same game, moved things around. If a crash happens, he just goes through it so he can learn the software. So he's found a ton of bugs for me, things I fixed, features that I've added one-off for him, everything. So I'm working pretty close with him. I'm giving him a pretty good deal on everything coming out of the gate. He's another Florida-based guy, so I'm hoping maybe in February. It's going to be tough again with 2 kids starting in October, but I'm hoping like my Misfits game and this game and maybe my game and my other customers, so potentially 4 homebrews, we just drag onto the floor at Pinball at the Beach. I haven't heard any announcements for it, and I got to reach out to him and see if he'll let me just have people bring some homebrews on there. That's it for now. We should have an update hopefully in another week or 2, and things will start moving along. Very slow with Dumb and Dumber. Still got the back box here. We're ready to go. Everything looks great. Put some speaker grill material in there. I don't think I've shown that before, but I do have some like speaker grill type material, if you can see it there. I'm ready to get this game out and demoed. I already got the playfield cut. Everything's here. This is the playfield. So that'll be the first game with cabinet lights, playfield lights, everything, the whole show. And yeah, I'm really excited to demo that. I want to take that with the Star Wars game at the local pinball lounge here, have some kind of event. So like I said, I have a new customer that's going to be doing the third homebrew game. So one thing, like, I go through real quick and check things. So like for here, like maybe this should be over here. You know, you don't want the ball running into the metal. These 3 inline drop targets here, I'll show you on the bottom. If I go down here and go to the camera view, we can actually go zoom in there and make sure that we can see that everything fits. So this is one thing that I saw just by going in here. Just take our camera and roll it in there. I'm gonna rotate it. I'm using one hand here, so it's kind of hard. You can see they all overlap right there. So that's one thing I noticed right away. I told him about, so to clean that up basically. I don't want to give away his whole play field, but he has a rollover here, and you see it kind of feeds from the top down here. So this is obviously a spot where a ball would hit. So I told him to essentially just go here, you know, delete this guy, and then go over here, drop in an opto beam so you can add it through over here.